Well, if you grew up in the '80s playing an NES system or in the arcades, it's like, well, first of all, the arcades were made to eat your quarters, so they
Of
would make them
course, yes,
punishingly hard.
yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it was. And when we played in NES, they did the same shit. And basically, because of the developers, they didn't want you to beat the game. They were like, if we can't just sit down in a day and beat our game, we have like 7 levels. So people constantly complained about a lot of games having the first level be punishingly difficult, and it wasn't even like a warm up. And so because they didn't have enough time to develop out a lot of levels, so of course we're going to do the same. And if it's going to be an '80s game, I got to make it '80s-Hard. So the first one is hard. A lot of people don't get past about the fourth world, whatever the fourth terrain. But yeah, I think Sam telling me that he's like, I'm just not good at that game. I was like, well, you're not really supposed to be. Like if you can loop through it one time, you're doing good. I can do that. But as far as Blood Dad, it was a little bit more approachable, because that one I want people to actually beat the game, and it's a little bit more like a video game. Kind of handholds things a little bit. Like, I know you had a problem with the atrium and the objective system, things like that. And these are good notes because it's something to work on.
I'll be honest with you. The problem that I had was not finding the atrium. The problem I had was not knowing what an atrium was. So I didn't know what room I was meant to be looking for. I literally Googled what is an atrium. After you gave me the instructions, so I knew what room to go to, so I knew that there were pillars in there that I needed to look behind. Because I'd walked around that room already, and I didn't see the keys, the lockpick keys in there. But when you told me about it, I was like, oh shit, I feel like a bloody idiot now.
Well, see, but this is a game that's a little different than the racer game, because when you told me that, I was like, oh, I got to make that easier. I'll move that a little bit more in line of sight, so that, because it doesn't bother me. I'm like, well, that's great. I want it to be a good experience. I want you to move through it and not be caught up too much. Yeah. So I'm going to have things be a little challenging, but I'm not trying to make this one '80s-Hard. Like this could be early '90s, semi-hard.
Yeah. I think a lot of people forget that back in like the Nintendo and Super Nintendo days, a lot of games, it was very standard for you to just have 3 lives. But it'd only take you an hour to beat the game because, of course, they're very smaller cartridges, in terms of storage and that sort of thing. And then suddenly nowadays, of course, the concept of having 3 lives for a game and playing for an hour is completely foreign. If you play like Battlefield, the concept of having lives in a video game is just so weird now.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like the 2010 Splatterhouse, but I also like the previous 3. And especially the first one is a game that you could probably beat in, I think it's like 15 minutes. If you got like really good at it, you could beat it in like 15 minutes. But I think it was both a console game and an arcade game. And it was just, it is still to this day a brutally difficult game. That, I think on average, most people probably spend like a few hours beating it, but it is only like really a 15-minute long game. And I think a lot of games at that time were like that. It's kind of like I was playing, what was it? Halloween and Ash vs. Evil Dead by Boss Team Games, the side-scroller games. Super fun games, relatively difficult. They're about like 3 hours a piece. But there was people out there who were like, oh, these games are just so stupid hard. Like, I just keep getting killed by stupid things and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, it's kind of like, they're kind of an ode to old. They're like,
meant to be that way.
Purposely trying to be that way. But I've I didn't grow up with like NES and SNES because I'm a little bit younger, but I did kind of though, because like I did have an uncle and a father who had these things. I did play like Sega Genesis and a little bit of SNES, a little bit of NES, N64, and I would go as far as to say that games stayed relatively difficult all the way up until like the Xbox PS2 era. And when we got into 360 and PS3, while it was still there at times, it was largely getting to the point where games were so much more mainstream. Wasn't as blatant as like yellow paint, but they were a lot more handholdy and they were a lot more straightforward. And they were starting to become more cinematic experiences, less about replayability. Because a lot of those old games, not only were they difficult, not only were they short games that took forever to beat, but like they were meant to be replayed. We were supposed to find the secrets, unlock the different things, and unlock. bonus items or bonus levels or secrets or costumes or whatever. Where nowadays it's like games are meant to be played one and done, and that is it. So I think the need for difficulty kind of waned as we made games that were not meant to be replayed. So there was no point in actually learning how to be good at the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think games like I would say Doom 2016 is an extremely easy game, but I'd say that games like that, and especially games like Doom Eternal and like Dark Souls and whatever, have slowly brought back this difficulty in games. And then they just came out with Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which had a huge uproar about how difficult it was. It's such a great game. Such a great game. And then you got like they're bringing back Shinobi and 2D Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, Jim's working on that.
Great.
That's amazing.
I'm happy to see like more games like going for difficulty and challenge and like making you have to learn how to play the game, because I don't think being able to breeze through everything is always great. I mean, sure,
bringing
good
back
walking
Shinobi
simulator.
Yeah,
Shinobi looks great. Art of Vengeance. Yeah,
I never in my wildest dreams thought that Ninja Gaiden would come back, and then that and Shinobi pretty much hit around the same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And for me, growing up with it, Heath, you look like you're a similar age to myself. For us growing up with it,
Probably a little older, but yes, you look like a young buck.
I'm 45. So.
I'm a little up there.
Yeah. So, but you would have remembered back when we were younger that Ninja Gaiden and Shinobi were kind of seen as the two things together. One was never viewed as like a rip-off of the other. They were seen as kind of the two ninja games that you played.
We were also not super cynical back then. I feel like now people are so incredibly cynical about everything.
Yeah.
But like,
oh yes,
and also this is the reason why. Again, I told you it's like bringing it back to DOSMan Games a little bit, like the Flash of the Blade. It was called Flash of the Blade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
again, this is the reason. That's why I'm such a big fan of Shinobi and Ninja Gaiden from back in the day. That's why that resonates with me. I watched every even crappy 80s like ninja movie that would come on HBO during the day. I would watch all of them.
What's fun about all these different kind of games coming back, and difficulty coming back, and more simple games with a I guess a more difficult gameplay to grasp that you have to really figure out, is that like nowadays, simple fun and simple entertainment is looked down upon if it's not something that's so extravagant and just pushing past the stars. It's kind of like, we don't care, and if a video game is just a video game, nobody really cares. But we're slowly getting to the point where those kind of things are coming back because people are so tired of playing the same thing over and over, so tired of playing things that are constantly trying to like one up the next thing or the last thing, or like, I like my games to be, extravagant sometimes. I like them to be about something and have meaning, but I also don't mind to sit down and play like an old school God of War or like an Evil West or a Duke Nukem and just say screw it and pass some time, have a good time, and just laugh and blow things up, Yeah. And I think we need more of the laughing and blowing things up when it comes to video games and film.
I
think we're definitely in the era of like absurdity right now. I think that there's something to be said about, and I think younger generations especially, like Gen Z is 100% leaning into the pedal of like absurdity right now. It's just an echo of things politically in our climate and all that. But the cynicism is what's so funny about that, because you touch on a lot of things that are, God, it would just, yes. The cynicism that you see right now, I don't think, like you talk about movies and Hollywood, I don't think Hollywood can process it. They don't know what to do with it. They see the cynicism there because you've got social media where everybody has an opinion, and half the time it's fucking negative. And that's why I'm just like, I mean, I could give a shit what people you're asking is like, how do I not alienate the casual game? I don't give a shit. That's how I do it. Because they're going to come to it and say, I don't like it. And I'll be like, well, then it's not a game for you. Yeah. And you can watch the trailer and see. It's not that I'm not building games for the audience. I want people to love the game, of course. Who doesn't? Just like when you write a movie or a script or something, you want people to watch it and love it. It's just not the case. There's always, and it's also going to be people that just want to shit on things. So I don't think Hollywood can really, they don't know how to deal with that. So when you get movies like, take Venom, for instance, I don't know how that made it through the process, but it did. And it was this throwback to old school, smaller story, even though it's big, but it's still small.
Yeah.
And it works because that's exactly what people wanted to see. It's short. It just kind of tells a simple story. Then they said, "Oh my God, they love it." So in the second one, we're going to bring in Carnage, and I got excited. And then they said, "We're going to bring in Carnage, and we're going to make it big, and we're going to make it this," and it sucked. And the same thing with the third one. Like, we got to bring in a Venom horse. We got it, and it sucked. And it's like, go back to what you did the first movie.
Yeah.
It's because they're afraid of people criticizing them, and they think that they have to Marvel-tize everything. It's a silly.
I mean, to be fair, I'm surprised that it even got a 2 or a 3 because it wasn't popular. It didn't do well. Overall, it was reviewed relatively low because of it being so old school in design.